Hello YouTube and welcome back to another how-to video, and in this one we're going to be talking about roofs. So this is going to be part one. I'm going to talk about simple basic detailing for these two styles of roofs. Part two we'll be talking about different shapes, from the A-frame to the like a dome shape, a more rounded shape, a more pointed shape, and all the different sort of shapes you can use in your roof. And in the third one we're going to be talking about bulges, sags and messiness like we have over here. So for now we're going to stick with basic stuff, and we have very badly built houses, nothing special, but we're looking at the roofs, not the houses. So the first thing you want to do is add an overhang to your house. An overhang is very simple and very direct in what it means. It's just a block that hangs off the edge of the building by one block. So the overhang here hangs off the front of the building by one block, and at each of the sides like this. Very simple. Okay, when you get to these side pieces, there are things you can do. You can either leave it open like this. I don't really like this style, especially on a large house like this. Some people like to use slabs underneath, and that looks okay, but again, depends on the size and the style you want to go for. But for me, my go-to is just a very simple stir like that, and it just thickens it up. Nice 45 degree, very simple. So we'll just do the same over here as well, like that. And we want to do the same over here. This one also deserves a overhang. Now you can do an overhang like this, but I don't really like that so much. So what I'm going to do is actually get a wooden block, spruce stairs, and do the exact same overhang on here as we have just there. And as you can see, I've recorded this video a few times now, and I've actually left this out. I keep having audio issues, but hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes right this time. Otherwise, ugh. So yeah, just sticking with a nice overhang, very simple. And I'll be getting onto that slab in a minute. So once you've got your overhang, you want to start framing the roof. So I'm going to take the spruce stairs and actually add them to the edge of this building, and the same with the spruce slabs, which is why we've got spruce slabs along the top of that roof. And this just adds a really nice border to the roof. And you don't have to use spruce, you can use any material you want. Same for this, you don't have to use oak stairs, you can use any material you want. I'm just going over simple ones that people tend to use a lot. I know oak is a very popular roof material. I personally don't like it. But just swap these out. Don't forget to change underneath on your overhangs as well, if you've used a different material to border it. And once you've done all that, you should have something that looks a little bit like this, and you can see it's a little bit more interesting. You've got sort of a definite roof, you've got a border, you've got something to work off. Next, to make this a little bit more interesting, you can add in some lines like this. This is okay for sort of one side of the roof, but I wouldn't just rely on this, because as nice as that looks, it is still very basic, and it doesn't look that good if it's just going to be that over and over and over and over. And you can do it on this clay roof, and it adds a really nice depth to the roof, because you have this little indent here with the stairs and the full blocks. But especially with this type of roof, you end up with a section of 4 and a section of 3, and it just looks a little off to me. I don't really like this. So we will be changing that a little bit later. But next thing you can do is use either birch or jungle, and just mix in these stairs. Just don't do it so symmetrically like this. That would be very bad. You want to mix it up and try and keep it as random as possible. Don't try to plan it or keep it to any sort of code or convention. Just mix it all up nicely and try and keep it well balanced as well. That's the hardest thing to do with randomization, is keeping it well balanced, because a lot of people you know, the OCD kicks in and this block needs to be changed and that block needs to be changed. You know, for example here we've got 2, 2, 2. You know, some people might think that's okay, but I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is swap that block out, put an oak block back up here, and then put another one down there and swap that for an oak as well. Now we've got the exact same shape going here. So just mix it up a little bit more. You know, put some oak slabs here, oak stairs, and why not just put one there and just randomize it, make it look a little different. Try not to create patterns as much. And then you can do the exact same here, only here you've got the cyan, which goes perfect with clay, with the grey clay, sorry. You also have the red and pink stained clay, you have green and lime, you have blue and light blue. So I'm going to get the cyan clay and just mix that in. You can see it's quite similar, it's just a lighter shade, it's a little bit bluer than the grey. I'm just going to mix these blocks in like this, exactly the same as what we've just done with the oak and birch stairs. And this really makes it a lot more interesting. And there you go, you can see these darker shades starting to come through in the roof, and it just makes the roof, it's always subtle, but it does make it that bit more interesting. You know, it sort of catches your eye, like, oh, there's a different shade up there. No? Okay, and the next thing to talk about is adding extra bits of the roof, because at the moment the roof is just sort of two sides, two-dimensional. It's not two-dimensional, just two sides, and it can be a little bit boring. So something that people do quite a lot to try and liven that up is to add the extra bit in here. And this extra bit here can sometimes be used as a window like this. And you want to use the same material as you have for your overhang to add an overhang to this section as well. And when you've done that, don't forget to do the same style underneath. If you've left it blank, leave it blank. If you've used the slabs here, use the slabs. I've gone for stairs, so I've put stairs under here just to keep it all the same, keep it looking nice. And then here I'm going to cap it off with a slab on top, and we're going to mix in some birch and some oak stairs as well, keeping that random, keeping it looking good. Do the same here, mixing some birch and some oak stairs, and you can see that makes it look a lot more interesting. It's got a more shape to the roof. It's just adds a bit more interest. You can do the exact same on here and do it in the exact same way. Don't have to change much about the style or the technique. All you're going to do is place these blocks on top like that. And I think for this roof, if you're going to do this, you really don't need those stair blocks anymore, because it just looks a little bit silly now. So I'm going to put these back in, just like this, remembering to do underneath. So I need to put some wall back in there, and this bit is totally up to you. You can just do a slab that leads up to there. What I'm going to do is do a stair block like that, and in fact I'm going to bring that stair block back a bit and do that there. And I much prefer this type of roof to the wooden roofs. The wooden roofs I'd use for more of a poor house. This looks quite middle class and rich, you know, it's 2 stories, it looks quite clean. So I prefer the clay slate roof blocks. But I think that's about it for this episode, guys. The next episode I'm going to be talking about different shapes that we can do on these sides and we can do on these sides to get some really interesting looking roofs. And then the final episode I'm going to be looking at adding sags to the roof, adding bulges to the roof, and adding messiness to the roof. I can't really think of a better word to describe it other than messiness. Alright, so that's it for this video. Don't forget to stick around for part 2 and part 3. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.